Hi everyone, it's Kino here. Thanks so much for joining me on this Ashtanga Yoga Challenge. We are continuing the journey together, and I am so grateful for you for staying with it day by day, step by step, along this journey of the Ashtanga Yoga method. What you're probably realizing by now is that the Ashtanga Yoga method is quite challenging and difficult. It is hard. And the actual challenge of the Ashtanga Yoga method is not any one video, not any one practice, but actually keeping the integrity of maintaining the practice for your entire life. So this challenge is not just a 30-day challenge. I'm hoping to get you hooked on the Ashtanga Yoga method so that you will practice for the rest of your life. I hope that you'll let me into your heart as a teacher and a guide to this tradition of yoga. But more than anything else, I hope that that spiritual spark of inspiration gets lit deeply within you so that as you continue to practice, you feel more connected to the Ashtanga Yoga method and more connected to the spiritual journey of yoga, because that's really where the magic of this practice really happens. So never be afraid of the challenge. This is not 30 days and done. This is like 30 years of practice, and I feel a little bit better about all of these crazy asanas. So the more difficult the asana is, it's traditionally said that that is the more potential you have for spiritual growth and learning along the way. So please remember that. In moments when you get frustrated with yourself, remember to observe the frustration and realize that that itself is a unique opportunity to work with the attitude of frustration, the attitude of how we approach failure, how we approach difficulty and adversity. And if you can learn to become peaceful in moments of failure and in moments of adversity, well, then yoga is really working for you. If you can learn to develop patience and kindness in the face of frustration and annoyance, then yoga is working for you. So ask yourself that question, not today and not after these 30 days, but ask yourself that question after 30 years of practice. Is yoga working for me? Am I kinder? Am I more peaceful? Am I more patient and tolerant? More forgiving towards myself and towards others? And if the answer is yes, my friends, then yoga is working for you. I make you no promises about what shapes you can bend and twist your body into. Let's be honest, we all have different physical potential. Some people are born naturally flexible. Some people are born, well, not so flexible. Some people are born naturally strong. Some people like me are born naturally really weak and have to work on strength really hard for many, many years just to get a little stronger. So we all have blessings and we all have our burdens to carry. And the idea with the yoga practice is that it cannot be judged from the outside looking in, but can only be felt from the inside, radiating outward. And it is said that you succeed in yoga to the degree to which you have removed the seeds of anger, the seeds of hatred, the seeds of judgment, bitterness, fear, animosity, and other forms of ill will. To that degree, my friends, it is said that yoga can really be working. And I wanted to give you this little pep talk before today's mini practice because we're looking at the asana called Supta Kurmasana, which is the sleeping tortoise pose. And this is one of what is sometimes called the great gateway postures of the primary series of Ashtanga Yoga. So whenever we have something that's like a gateway pose, it's a place where a lot of people get stuck and there's a lot of passage that needs to happen. So when we're moving through these gateway asanas, it's very tempting to create a pass or fail litmus test judged by the exterior form. But as a teacher and a student, I know that it's not one size fits all for everyone. Definitely not in the yoga practice and also not in the life either. So when you think about Supta Kurmasana, which again is a sleeping tortoise pose, I want you to use a couple of inner metrics to figure out if this asana is settled for you and you're ready to pass through the gateway. Number one, you understand the anatomical principles that are at play in the asana. You have a sense of what to do with your body, and you kind of get a good feeling about what that direction is about. Number two, in whatever variation of the asana you are doing, there is the ability to breathe very, very deeply. Then, number three, when you complete the asana, there is a sense of being settled, a sense of being kind of calm and tranquil, rather than a sense of being irritated and frustrated and stimulated in some other fashion. So if those three elements are there, I think it's pretty safe to pass through the gateway, regardless of which variation of Supta Kurmasana is accessible for you. Okay, since I know that many of you are going to follow along with me and try the asana, we're going to do a little bit of warm-up. The best warm-up for Supta Kurmasana is the entire primary series up until this point, but we're not going to do that today. I don't have a student and it would be too long anyway. We're going to focus on just a little gentle warm-up and then moving into the technique of Supta Kurmasana and different variations of Supta Kurmasana. It should also be said that Supta Kurmasana also contains Kurmasana, which is the tortoise pose. And there are some key differences between Kurmasana, tortoise pose, and Supta Kurmasana, the sleeping tortoise pose. So we'll look at those as well. Anatomically, let's just give you the theory. As much theory as you need to do the asana, that much theory I want to give you. More theory than that just begins to be intellectual exercise. If we do too much intellectualizing about yoga, then unfortunately we can end up too much thinking and not enough practice. And the yoga practice is, as I've mentioned many times, practice, not performance. And it's practice, more than it is theory. So without the practice, there's no foundation for the theory. So as much theory as you need to practice, that much theory I want to share with you. It's not to say that there's not more theory, but this is important to get the theory that will support you where you are. So anatomically, Kurmasana, Supta Kurmasana rely on a couple of things. First, a deep forward fold and what is called a hyper hip flexion, which means that you don't just bring your chest to your thighs, but your chest needs to slide between the thighs, which sounds weird. And I promise we'll go over that so you can understand what that means. Then we need to have control over both the parallel position in the hyper hip flexion and the external rotation of the hip joints in that hyper hip flexion. So we need a deep forward bend and a deep external rotation. Then, third anatomical component, you need strong stabilization through the shoulders. If your shoulders aren't very, very stable, then you're just going to end up feeling like the whole weight of your legs is crushing down. Let's take a look at some key points that you want to watch out for in Supta Kurmasana. In any deep hip flexion or any deep forward bend, always pay attention to the muscles of your lower back. If the muscles are lengthening, wonderful. Pay attention to the bandhas and make sure the low belly is drawn in. If it's drawn in, wonderful. If not, and you have any pinching sensations in your lower back, you want to exit the posture. With external rotation, as long as you feel your hip joints are moving into an external spiral, wonderful. But if you end up feeling that there's pinching sensations in the knees or pressure or discomfort in the knees or any other joint that's related to external hip rotation, then it's a sign that you might want to back off. Probably the most important thing to watch out for in Supta Kurmasana is the collarbone. So when you look at the collarbone, the sternoclavicular joint where the sternum meets the clavicle. If when you're getting into Kurmasana or Supta Kurmasana, you feel pressure at the sternoclavicular joint, this is a big red flag. So you want to exit the posture. Carefully, quietly, don't freak out, right? You want to really pay attention to that, remain calm, maintain the integrity of the posture and your mind, and then quietly exit the posture. The corners of the shoulders, where the collarbone ends, the acromion process, are another place where you want to look out for. But in Supta Kurmasana, it's more common to have undue pressure at the sternoclavicular joint. And this is not something we want to put pressure on. So please treat this as a red light. Stop, stop, stop. And when you hear that or feel that in your body, just remember me saying that to you, oh, this was that red light that Kino was talking about. Maybe I should come out now. And if you learn to listen to those signals, then you'll have a happy trip in the yoga practice. Just like if you watch the traffic signals when you're going through your daily life, you'll also have a happy journey. But if you disregard all traffic signals and don't pay attention to the stop signs and the red lights and the yellow lights and all that sort of thing, then you'll have an unhappy journey, flagged down by the police. I'm not the yoga police, and I don't think there should be a yoga police in that matter, but I want you to really pay attention to the quality of your journey to make your journey just as happy as possible, okay? So with that in mind, let's get started. We're going to do a downward facing dog. I'm going to put my hair up. My hair's been getting in my way lately, so I'm going to hopefully move that out of the way. So come onto your hands and knees. Then curl your toes under and inhale, downward facing dog. We're going to take 5 breaths, all right? 1. Deep breathing. 2. 3. 4. Remember the breath and the bandhas. 5. Let's walk half the distance in. Hanging forward bend, one of my favorite things to do. Soft bend in the knees. Layer your arms over each other and inhale. Hips back and up. And stay for 5. 1. 2. Keep the navel in and just feel those back muscles releasing. 3. Make sure the feet are parallel, not turned out. 4. And 5, that's good. Now, walk your hands forward. Let's come on back to a good plank pose. Give me plank for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, strong shoulders. 4, pitch your shoulders a little more forward. 5, chaturanga. Upward facing, give me a big breath in. Exhale, downward facing, big breath out. Give me 5 more breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you're going to walk forward to a wide leg position. So open your hips and open the feet. And this is Prasarita Padottanasana, A position. So here, I want you to lift your sitting bones a little bit, walk your hands back. Inhale, prepare, and then exhale, fold. And so here's the Prasarita Padottanasana A position. And if you're just moving into your forward bend, this could be where you stop. When you want to think about Kurmasana and Supta Kurmasana, then we want to try to find a hyper hip flexion. So you can take your hands back a little bit, lift your chest, and you can round it for a moment, and then exhale, slide your torso between the thighs, and let your chest release again. And let's take 5 breaths here. And so try to get that, as I mentioned before, the hyper hip flexion. Super activate the legs, activate the inner thighs, and lean a little body weight forward. See if you might be able to go a little bit more. And again, stay for 5. 1, keep it super active. 2, if it's too much, you feel really stressed in this posture, Kurmasana is going to be challenging for you, but I will show you some variations. 4 and 5. Inhale, lift the head up, walk your hands forward. Now again, walk the feet in and then exhale, squat. So this is what we did yesterday. We did a nice deep squat. So again, we're gonna go for that deep squat to get that hyper hip flexion. Exhale, elbows down and head down. 1, steady breathing. 2, 3, 4. Let's go for 1 more like this. 5, good. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale there. Now, drop your head down. We're gonna do Prasarita C. So interlock your fingers and roll the shoulders forward. Please remember the internal rotation, and then exhale, fold. You can use the strap or put the head on the block. Going for which variation is better for you. Now, I want you to activate your Prasarita C. So please don't try to put your hands on the ground. That's not what this is about right now. I want you to activate your internal rotation to try to stabilize the sensation of binding your hands. And we're going to stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, nice and easy. 4, almost there. 5, that's good. Release your hands, walk them forward, and we're going to walk back to plank. I know it's not the traditional Ashtanga vinyasa, but we're just doing a little bit of warm up to make sure that the Kurmasana is not too intense. All right, you ready? Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing. All right, big breath in. Exhale, downward facing. Big breath out. Very good. Cross your feet. Come on down to seated. Draw the navel in. Good. All right. Now, straighten out your legs and let's go for Dandasana position. The chest is up, chin is down. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost there. Let's take Paschimottanasana. You can hold the ankles, you can hold the big toes. Inhale, prepare, and then exhale, relax your back muscles to fold. That's good. 1. Deep breathing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale here. We're going to take vinyasa. We're going to try something else. So come on up. The navel is in. Now, I want you to bend your right knee and keep it relatively open. So this would be something similar to Marichasana A, except instead of closing the knee, I want you to keep it relatively open. And then exhale, fold forward. All right, when you fold forward, see if you can drop the head down and then bring your hands back and through. And I'll do the other side so you can see what's happening here. Watch the shoulders. If the shoulders are collapsing, too much of down, I want you to guide those shoulder blades down the back. And this is the shoulder position that we want for the Kurmasana, where the shoulders are neutral and the arms are out to the side. In Supta Kurmasana, you rotate the shoulder joints forward, and that helps you bind the hands. But you have to maintain a strong connection into the stabilization of the shoulder. So inhale, come up. Exhale, straighten the right leg out. Then bend the left knee, and I've got a big space, about 2 hands distance. 2 hands distance between, all right? So now 2 hands distance between. Then exhale, fold, and notice I'm lifting the hip a little off the ground. Gonna make space, take the hands, drop the knee a little bit in, and then you could practice sitting back or sitting a little up. Now stabilize the shoulders, watch to make sure that you're not collapsing forward, and then rotate the shoulders forward and bind the hands. And this is a great prepare for Supta Kurmasana. And you're gonna stabilize the shoulders and hold it there for a moment. Good. Release, come on out, cross your feet. Now we're gonna take plank. So inhale, come up to plank, catch the bandhas. Exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing feels a little weird after that deep hip flexion. So just give it a moment to come back to neutral. Exhale, downward facing. Come on back. Good. Bend your knees, cross the feet, and come on down to seated. So now let's go over some modifications for the Supta Kurmasana. First, modification. You're going to take your feet relatively wide apart, but not too wide. The mistake people make in Kurmasana is trying to do a straddle position. It's not the right position. Take the feet just a little wider than the shoulders, okay? So now you understand how wide apart the feet are. Keep the knees bent, then work your hip flexion. Draw the navel in, round the back and fold, all right? So from here, you want to think about what you're going to work with. So first stage, hold on to the heels and wrap the thumbs around the heels. Be sure to keep the heels up, and we'll hold this for 5. 1, 2, 3, the navel is in. 4, 5. Second step, elbows on the ground. Once your elbows are on the ground, then you can reach the elbows through and hands back. If elbows not on the ground, but close to the ground, this is variation number 2, and you're going to stay right here. Variation number 1, arms straight. Variation 2, elbows close to the ground, but not on the ground. When the elbows touch the ground, then variation 3, your elbows are past the plane of the knees, and you're pressing the chest forward. We stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Variation number 4, straighten the legs. That could take a longer time. Then, variation number 5, squeeze the knees in, lift the heels. 1, 2, 3, gaze at the nose. 4, 5, come on down. All right, bend the knees, come on out. All right, shake it out. We're gonna cross the feet, come on back to plank. Give me your plank pose. Plank, got it? Chaturanga. Upward facing, big breath in. Downward facing, big breath out. Come on forward, again cross, exhale down. All right, now let's talk about Supta Kurmasana. First option for the Supta Kurmasana is to move from option 1, remove your hands, bring your feet together, change the hand position, hold on to the ankles. So this is like a wide version of Baddha Konasana. So you can see my feet are quite far away from the pelvis. If you bring the feet too much in, then we do Baddha Konasana. Different postures, different position of the knees, different rotation, slightly different rotation inside of the pelvis. So in the going from variation 1, come out, bring your feet together, change your hand position, hold the ankle. So if you cannot bend your back very much, meaning you cannot round or bend forward for one reason or another, this is a good option. Okay, now variation number 2, where we're going from here to here, the elbow not on the ground, but close to the ground. See if you can keep the hands in position. And then wiggle the feet forward. And now take the hands on the floor near the feet. You're using the forearms, little support for your legs. So then exhale, head down. And stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, we lift the head up. Exhale there, all the way out. Come on out. Now, you're practicing on your own. Sometimes you actually want to lift your feet up a little bit. So you can practice putting your feet on a block. And this is sort of another alternative, another variation for the Supta Kurmasana. So by lifting the feet, you encourage more hip rotation and get your hips and your back a little bit closer into what Supta Kurmasana would actually be. So then you can take your thumbs around the block and exhale, head down. You can stay for a few breaths. See how it feels. If it feels all right, you might even think about adding another block. And you could add both feet, stack them up on the block, taking the hands around, and then you could either touch your head or you could wiggle and maybe put the head all the way down. And let's stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, come up. So you can really get the sense of the sleeping tortoise in this variation. All right. Bring your feet off of the blocks and remove the blocks. Now, next option, you're going to use a yoga strap. Yoga strap, very handy. Okay. So I hope you're going to be able to hear me in this one. Hopefully the microphones all stay in place. Maybe I move it back just a little. This one too. All right. So, okay. Everybody still hear me? Hope so. So now, get your strap handy. And as the strap is handy, this is how we're going to work. So this is going to be, remember, we go through our Kurmasana variations. Option 1, and then that's bringing you here. Option 2, elbows down, that's bringing you here. Option 3 is what we're at right now, and you could use those blocks as an intermediary stage, all right? So the option 3, you're here, have that strap nearby. All right, and maybe you're getting close to going down, but you're not totally straight. Your shoulders feel good, but you're not sure what to do next. Okay, then tuck your head under. You can wiggle your feet a little bit in, but try to keep the feet and the legs squeezing in so they're not too much down. If the legs are too much down, it could put a little too much pressure on the shoulders. So just try to keep the knees up onto the shoulders. Then drop your shoulder down, grab that strap, there it was. Reach it around, drop your shoulder down, throw the strap like a little lasso, and hold on to it. And then, now you're in a very close version of Supta Kurmasana. Hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, in this version, change your hands. Lift your head up, and then pick it up. So do you remember from yesterday? When we fell out of Bujapidasana, I asked you to come into this shape and then not give up because you need that strength for what we're going to do next. So if you made it this far, it might take 10 years, 20 years to get this far, but once you make it this far, then let me slide a little forward here so I have the space. Okay, so now from here, you're going to keep those knees onto the shoulders and then inhale, lift the hips. You can come into your Bujapidasana position. Then walk your feet back, get a good Bakasana, and jump back. All right. I don't know if I had the space there. So exhale, Chaturanga. If it was a lot, you can go all the way down. Remember, your back might feel a little weird now, so do it easily. Inhale, upward facing. Slowly lift your thighs. Big breath in. Exhale, downward facing. Okay, so cross your feet. Come on down to seated. I'm going to show you one more option for Supta Kurmasana. And this is a variation for people that are very flexible and who are doing the Ashtanga Yoga second series. So this is quite advanced, and I need my hair completely out of the way to do this version. And I want you to just see the progression from one asana to the next and understanding that it's not hierarchical, because if you equate putting your legs behind your head with enlightenment or spiritual realization, I mean, that already is totally nonsensical when you think about it. So, okay, maybe I keep the strap handy. You could do this one with the strap as well. There's going to be a lot of pressure on my head, which if I had my yoga mat, I wouldn't be so bad, but I'm going to use this nice little cushion right here. So, in this version of Supta Kurmasana, you might find that it's useful to jump. Maybe not, definitely not you're not going to jump with your legs behind your head, but just to jump forward into your squat and then exhale, go down. So let's see if I can roll through that. All right. So right here, move back just a tad. Then you can jump forward like this, walk forward, take the hands out, and then exhale down. Make sure there's no pressure on the elbows, and then just slide your way into the Kurmasana shape. After a few breaths there, relax, and you're gonna come totally out for this version. So you come totally out. Now this is the place also where if you have a teacher, your teacher is gonna help you. In my opinion, it's better to have a teacher help you than to try this one on your own, because the teacher is like a guide to really help you. Okay, so first the left leg. Take the right leg and put it in position. Let me bring that a little closer. Then external rotation and exhale, reach around. And then this is sort of the movement that your teacher would be doing for you. The right one comes around and give yourself a good squeeze. Then check your shoulders, almost like you have to do a push-up. So exhale, almost like a push-up. Control it with the shoulders. Exhale, head on the ground. If you don't feel stable, don't change your hands. Only when you feel stable, then remove your hands, reach them around the back, and hold. And you could use a strap as well. Remember, any pressure in the collarbone, you're going to come out. Let's stay. 1, 2, strong bandhas. 3, 4, 5. Now, keep your feet crossed in this one. Take the hands down. Use that push-up strength to come up. All right? This is difficult, but this is actually the traditional transition, which is why it makes this posture so hard. Let's move that over to the side. Now, you're going to try to lift up and keep these feet crossed. All right. It's going to be hard. Let's try it. That's why we need that strong shoulders. Watch the collarbone. You're going to pitch your shoulders forward and inhale, pick it up. Now, good news. It's only primary. You don't have to hold it for 5. So just release your feet. Come up for air. So nice. Then straighten the legs. Keep your shoulders real stable. We're going to lift the hips back and up. Inhale, hips back and up. Ooh, there we go. Back, 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 back. Then bend the knees. Find your Bakasana. Jump back. And get a good plank, chaturanga. Upward facing, give it a moment. Here we go. Downward facing, another moment. Good. Now, you're gonna line your stomach. And I'm just gonna move these over again. All right. I'm gonna come up onto the elbows. And we're just going to do a nice little release in the cobra pose because we need a deep counter stretch. And I want this to be as pleasurable as possible. All right? So roll your thigh bones towards each other. Deep breaths. Lift the kneecaps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost there. You can just wiggle your butt a little bit to make sure the lower back gets fully released. That's good. Okay, let's walk the hands back. Inhale again, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. From downward facing, come on back to seated. Cross your feet. Very good. Ooh, and that was hard, huh? Close your eyes for a moment. I want you to reflect on the quality of your journey. What emotions arose for you in your practice of Supta Kurmasana? Were you frustrated with yourself? Were you judgmental towards yourself? Or were you able to be kind and forgiving and accepting of which variation was appropriate for your body in this moment? And just accept whatever your journey was today, keeping a little bit of inspiration so that you can keep practicing each day, learning a little bit more about yourself, bringing more love, more light into your heart and into your life. And then a nice long deep breath in. And as you exhale, open the eyes and start to come back. Good. Good work. So, this is very important in the Supta Kurmasana to give yourself that really the 30-year trajectory, number one. Number two, it's really important to honor what variation is right for your body. If you push too hard, that's like running through a red light. And you have to remember, I've been practicing for more than 20 years. So I couldn't do this when I first started. It was one of the most difficult postures for me when I first started. Felt like I couldn't breathe. I had that pain in the center of my chest. My back felt really, really stiff. My hips were really stiff. Every time the legs behind the head, they flipped right off. So this was a journey. And it's a journey that's a combination of strength and flexibility. So please stay the course. Now, when we integrate Supta Kurmasana in the flow of the whole primary series, it's even easier. And we are going to build up to a full primary series class. Now, please remember to really take on the responsibility of honoring your body along this journey of yoga. And ask yourself, which variation is right for me, for my Supta Kurmasana and my Kurmasana experience. And then you, as the student, have to remember that for yourself. Oh, this is right for me. This is what I'm going to do. Rather than this is what I want, or this is what I desire, or this is what she's doing, or he's doing, or they're doing. Then we just really recognize this is what's right for me. So in the flow of the practice, you're going to hear Supta Kurmasana in that traditional vinyasa count where we coordinate breath with movement, Supta inhale, Kurmasana position. Then you have to remember, oh, this is right for me. All right, then Supta Kurmasana. Oh yes, this is where I hold my feet and I protect my back muscles, draw the navel in. You just be very happy that you have a variation, can understand the key principles that are present in the asana. All right? And in this way, you can keep both the concept of surrendering to the practice and enough of your own agency and to always kind of honor your inner space of the journey. Tomorrow's asana is the perfect back release for Supta Kurmasana. So please stay tuned for that. And it's a really wonderful and almost strangely therapeutic asana, even though it's one of the most awkward yoga asanas in the whole series. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for practicing with me, for going on this journey of yoga with me, and for keeping that inspiration to keep coming back to your mat. So leave me some comments, as I always say in the videos, to let me know where you are on your journey. If this is the first time you tried Supta Kurmasana, let me know how it went and let me know which variation was better for you. And that will help me just get to know where you are in your journey of yoga so that I can be a better teacher and guide of this tradition for you. So that's it for today, everyone. I send you a lot of love and I hope you leave with a little more peace, a little more happiness in your yoga practice and also in your life. Namaste.